I am standing in front of the brand new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser. And this one in particular is the 1958 edition, so it's got that nice extra bit of heritage, including the round headlights. And in front of that is a product specialist for Toyota, Holly. And Holly, you're going to tell us a little bit more about this brand new and very transformational compared to the last generation Land Cruiser.
Yes, absolutely. Love the Land Cruiser, our iconic flagship SUV for the longest time. It is back after 3-year hiatus, and it looks quite a bit different from the last model. As you remember, that previous generation, that 200 series, got quite larger. As we talk about off-roading, this new Land Cruiser, plenty of performance, still full-time four-wheel drive, but going to be a little bit narrower, 4.4 inches narrower, 1.2 inches shorter. A little bit better for off-roading. Still going to have a lot of power though. We're going to change that engine from a V8, which is still a great engine. We're going to switch that to a smaller turbocharged 4-cylinder, 2.4 liter turbocharged iForce Max. That is our hybrid turbo engine that's going to be standard across all grades for the Land Cruiser. It's going to give you great fuel economy and give you great performance off-roading.
Well, we're going to do better than the 14 combined MPG of the outgoing V8, I'm sure of that.
Correct.
And this is a hybrid powertrain with a surprisingly large battery pack. If I read the press release correctly, it's 1.87 kilowatt hour battery pack, very large for a non-plug-in. And then it's decent power we're talking about here. The 2.4 liter with the hybrid system combined delivers 326 horsepower.
Correct.
And then well over 400 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah, 465 pound-foot of torque on the, or pound-foot for the torque. So quite a big jump up. So you're seeing that a lot in our hybrid SUVs. You're seeing those hybrid engines really boost up the horsepower and the torque. Better pickup, better for off-roading. You can also still tow 6,500 pounds in this Land Cruiser as well.
And this is an iForce Max, so it's not some hard to understand electrically driven CVT. This does have a transmission.
Yep.
And is it an 8-speed? Is that right?
8-speed transmission, yep.
So still a pretty healthy and real gearbox as part of this Land Cruiser. And you can see this looks much more FJ40, FJ60 than the outgoing Land Cruiser. Really got away from that. We're getting back to a much boxier, more squared off looking Land Cruiser. One thing I remembered is this very straight looking piece of glass and much closer to vertical than before. And just a much more holistically boxy shape. I also noticed that we got some pretty healthy off-roading figures to work with. I think I read 8.7 inches of ground clearance.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to talk about in terms of off-road?
8.7 inches of ground clearance. Also, they made sure that your approach angle was at the right degree for more off-roading. So you actually have a very steep approach angle with this Land Cruiser. So in addition with that ground clearance, you can really be confident in your approach going down or going back up higher grades. That was definitely by design.
And we can see that we've got very short front overhangs right here. So you can see that there's not a lot of bodywork to have to worry about before we get to the front axle. And true in the back axle as well. It's not as good, but you know, there's not that much going on back here. So a pretty darn good departure angle as well. And then the 8.7 inches of ground clearance will help for the breakover angle. And it's interesting to see these fender flares kind of baked in the body as well. But as you said, this is shorter than before and it is much narrower than before. Yep. So I guess that makes it accessible for more trails than before.
More for off-roading. Again, still full-time four-wheel drive. I know Land Cruiser owners are going to love that. That was iconic about the 200 series, was full-time four-wheel drive. Still the case here. You're just going to have a little bit better fuel economy, still have that power, and again, more for off-roading. Like the original Land Cruiser, the 1958 edition is kind of an homage to that original Land Cruiser. It was more about going off-road and not as much about having this huge vehicle that was great, but it's more about being more nimble on the trails.
Right, exactly right. Now, is there anything in particular we should look at in the back of the car?
I love this design. I like this, like we were talking about, I like this boxy design, this kind of homage to the 1958 edition. You can tell it really sticks out. Yeah. It really kind of goes back to that version. As you can see, our iForce Max badging, this is new in current years. As you see, we switch over to more and more hybrid vehicles. You're going to see a lot of standard hybrid vehicles in our lineup, like the Land Cruiser. So you're going to see more and more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see just physically, this is a very tall SUV.
Yeah, I'm 6'2", if that helps.
So, well, there you go.
for reference.
For reference.
And I have shoes on, so let's say 6'3", all right?
Now, this is a 1958 edition. That does mean there's some specific things about the interior as well. Do we want to look inside?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a peek inside. Let's go in the front here.
All right, magic has happened and Holly is inside the Land Cruiser, but I am not quite inside yet because I wanted to look. The 1958s are special to have these plain Jane, but I mean this in a positive
Yes.
way. The cloth seats. That's one of the like simplifying reference to the 1958 specifically.
Absolutely. Fabric seats. You know, you have the option for soft tech seats. You know, we have that options in the Land Cruiser, but for this 1958, we want the fabric. You know, we're going off road, we're gonna get some dirt in the car, we want to be okay with it. Also, like as you can tell, manual seats.
Yep.
You know, moves nicely, but stuff like that. You know, this edition specifically is more for the off-road crowd. So there's touches on the inside that are going to allude to that, like the fabric seats, the manual seat. This also has a little bit smaller display screen than the regular. This is an 8-inch multimedia screen. When we go to the higher trim level, it's going to be a 14-inch, or sorry, 12.3-inch display screen.
And this is the only trim that is 8-inch. Every other trim is
It's
the
gonna have
larger.
a larger screen.
Yeah, but there is still plenty of tech in here that is what looks like a mostly digital instrument cluster screen as well. Looks, if I were to guess, it was one of the 7-inch screen.
Yes, and this is also, you're also gonna have all your safety standards safety feature standard in this vehicle, so no worry about like paying for extra features, even though this is a 1958 trim level. Still have your safety feature standard, Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 across the board. You can see your traction control, you see your 4-wheel drive controls down here, high 4, low 4. Different drive modes, you can, multi-terrain select. Obviously some tech here, all different USBs, depending on which year you bought your phone. We got your USB charger right here for you. So everything is good to go. Everything you need, nothing you don't here inside.
And we should say right on the outside of the car, this is a prototype vehicle, so this might not be 100% what you see in production, but we're getting pretty darn close.
Correct. And honestly, usually the aesthetics are accurate. What happens is if you go to auto show and see some of these pre-production prototypes, that's simply what they are. They're just pre-production. It's not necessarily a prototype vehicle. This is just not the final production one, so there might be some slight, like this might not be the final grade in here or something like that. But aesthetically, it's going to all look like this. They just do that for some auto show stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm noticing we got a nice big beefy Prindle right here. You showed the full-time 4-wheel drive system. This is not all-wheel drive. This is proper 4-wheel drive. We still have plenty of USB ports, and there is actually some tech in here. I see a heat. I should say I see some luxury in here. We have heated steering wheel, heated seat. So even though this is the starting level Land Cruiser, it's not barren in terms of luxuries and that kind of thing.
Correct. Still a lot of awesome features, a lot of stuff standard. And again, when it comes to the performance, that's always going to be standard across everyone. The engine's going to be the same. Performance is going to be the same of all these Land Cruisers. It's just what kind of stuff do you want on the inside? Do you want the heated ventilated seats? Do you want soft tech seats? Do you want the bigger screen? I see this version specifically speaking out to a lot more of the old school Land Cruiser fans, the ones that really do off-roading, overlanding, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. And I'm noticing too, your 6'2" height is coming in handy again. We have plenty of headroom right there. And we have what looks like a decent space in the second row as well. And, decent storage behind that. This is clearly a departure from what we saw before in the J200. I think the last model year was 2021.
Yep, 3 years, yep.
Are you guys going after a different customer? Do you see different competition?
I think to me, this makes it more accessible. The Land Cruiser was always an awesome, iconic vehicle, but you didn't see as many people driving it as like an everyday type vehicle. This to me brings more, it expands the customer base to the Land Cruiser. So, and goes back to its original heritage. So it does kind of twofold. It goes back to its original use, and then kind of expands that customer base. Cause it's a little bit more affordable. We don't have full pricing yet, but Land Cruiser is slotted to start at around mid 50,000s.
Yeah.
When it went away, it was $86,000. This was 3 years ago pricing. So in current, that's 90 grand in current pricing. So that's a lot. So and again, it was still it wasn't like it wasn't worth it. It was still a great vehicle, but it just priced out a lot of folks. So I think now we have many more people that can come, and afford this vehicle, have fun with it. Also, there's 100 ways to accessorize this. There's 100 accessories to go with this Land Cruiser. So spending less money out of the gate gives you more money to have fun with it and accessorize.
And that was the other thing I noticed. It seems like Toyota really wanted to give customers the ability to personalize this vehicle more than before. And yeah, taking $30K off the base price, that is a big difference. It is rare. Now this is smaller than before, but that is a huge difference in price. Well, Holly, thank you so much for taking the time, getting us inside this vehicle as opposed to just poking our nose.
Absolutely.
And getting a sense of what this brand new 2024 Land Cruiser is all about. This one specifically, the 1958.
Yes, sir. Been my pleasure.